ahead and make some decisions. So here we are.
We've done a pretty good inventory around town, Chief, of streets, and while we still have some areas of concern as far as where you've got shade on the streets, particularly residential streets, and there may be still some ice breaking up and melting some, but it's still there. I feel like we can go ahead and open the city streets with the caveat of people being particularly careful in the residential areas. And there's some other areas that we have some concerns about. One of those is Presswood Bridge Road. And there's places out on Presswood Bridge that we know that because of the angle of the trees and the angle of the sun, cannot get direct sunlight. And those areas still have some ice on the road. And it's mushy ice, but it's still there. There's some other neighborhood streets that are similar to that. How you feel about it? Is that kind of the way you see it?
I think you're correct. I rode around some, and there's spots, just off the square, some spots here, I think there. Overall, it's good.
We got our public works folks out working on these areas, particular areas that we're concerned about. They're going to go in with a road grader and try to scrape that ice off as best they can. If they can't, then they're going to come back and put some sand on. And so I'm ready to give the all clear as far as getting the streets open. As you know, the state has opened all the state highways with the exception of 84 west out to the Connecticut County line, and they're working on that. So that gives us a little more good feeling that they think the highways are in good shape. What we've seen, this sun that has come out has really, in the last 2 hours, just done a tremendous job. But we're still, having said that, we're still going to have some ice scattered around. So we need to caution folks to be careful, drive with exceptional care and with exceptional attention to the road conditions. And if they see something that looks icy, it's probably because it still is icy and they need to slow down. By us opening the city streets, we're not guaranteeing that every street is free and clear of any ice. So again, motorists need to drive with due caution and care and use their own common sense about whether to proceed through some area if they have any question about it at all. So with your concurrence and as I said, we've been around with the department heads, been around town. I'm ready to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and open the city streets with the condition that people continue to drive with extreme caution. By this time tomorrow, if we get another sunshiny day tomorrow, we ought to be clear of all the ice, I would think.
I agree. I think we should go ahead and be cautious tonight when it freezes back tonight. The road's wet. Be careful when you get that spot to lose the ice back over.
Another thing to think about that you brought that up, we've got all this ice melting, which means you've got water draining across the streets in certain areas. Tonight, when it freezes, that water is going to freeze on the roadway again. So we still got to be very careful. And what I would say to everyone in town, slow down. Even if the speed limit out on the bypass is 45, you don't need to be driving 45 on the bypass the next day or two. If the speed limit in your neighborhood is 35, you probably don't need to be driving faster than 25. So everybody just kind of knock your speed down 10 to 15 miles an hour. It's not going to cost you. If you're going from one side of Andalusia to the other, if you drove half the speed limit that's posted, it wouldn't cost you 5 minutes. So just allow yourself a little more time as you make your trips, and that will make certain that everybody's safe. So with that having been said, we will make that official that the streets in Andalusia are now open. People drive with extreme caution.
Folks, that was Mayor Earl Johnson at the City of Andalusia department head meeting. You heard it here. The mayor pleads for common sense and use a little bit caution around the shaded areas, especially in the communities where there are trees and others. Mayor, while I've got you, can you tell us, things changed rapidly from this morning, hadn't they?
They really did. What we didn't realize is that some of this ice was actually floating on water under it. So the ice in some areas was not as thick as we thought it might have been. And so once it started breaking up, it went out pretty quickly.
Well, the sun's out. It's a beautiful day outside, and things are going to get back to normal.
Well, we hope so. We sure hope so. We're glad we're able to make this call a little earlier than we thought earlier, a little sooner than we thought earlier. In fact, this morning at 6:30 when I was out early, quite frankly, I was concerned that we would even be able to open the streets at all today. So we've come a long way since 6:30 this morning, and it looks much better.
Mayor, real quick, you mentioned when you came in earlier about the infrastructure of the power and how everything came about. That's a very important fact to let out.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Eddie. We talk about all the time working on infrastructure, working on our utility infrastructure, and all that costs money. And people say, well, why do you want to spend all that money on this, that, and the other? Well, this last 2 or 3 days has been a perfect example. As far as I know, we did not have a single electric outage in the entire city. And that's just remarkable considering the amount of ice that we had on our lines, the amount of ice that we had in trees. And we spent a lot of money upgrading our electric system, a lot of money keeping the right-of-way clear and clean, and that paid off during the storm.
Mayor, lots was learned during the situation. Probably the first time in your lifetime that you've seen anything quite like this, and certainly the first time since your administration. But are there lessons learned from this and things you're going to look to possibly change in the future?
Well, we always do a debriefing sort of after one of these events and get all the folks in and sit down and talk about how things went, how you think we can improve our response, and more importantly, how we can improve our preparation. And so we will be doing that, and we do that after every event, whether it be a hurricane coming through or a tornado or an event like this.
Mayor, thanks a lot, and congratulations on the job well done.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Appreciate all your coverage.
Thank you, Mayor. Folks, that's it. That's right from the mayor. The roads are open. Drive carefully. Be wise. Be smart. Tonight, be careful. That ice is going to build back up in some places again where the water has run off to. We're going down below freezing temperatures once again. So live from the City Hall, this is Eddie Lewis reporting for WKNI TV. Remember, keep it real. Keep God in it.